Good morning, and thank you for joining the Powderhorn Park Neighborhood Association for our 24th annual Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. celebration. My name is Tabitha Montgomery, and I have the pleasure of serving the association as its executive director. Our organization, like numerous other groups, institutions, and individuals across the world, recognize that today provides an opportunity to collectively demonstrate our understanding and appreciation for the undeniable and unrelenting impact that Dr. King made to further equity for all. We also acknowledge, as did he, that he was not alone in the fight to advance equity. He raised his voice and vision, not only in service of improving the lived experience of Black Americans, but any group who found themselves marginalized and oppressed by systems, policies, or people in these United States who were and are unable to see the beauty and necessity of difference. When supported and embraced, difference of opinions, cultures, abilities, sexual orientation, sexual identity, religion, and everything else contributes to measurable and calculable progress in innovation, community well-being, creative expression, and so much more. This truth is why our association is proud to join with so many others around our country and world in shining a light on our collective opportunities to serve one another and to raise our voices for solutions, policies, and investments that support equity, justice, and difference. The association also understands that today's celebration is not a time to focus solely on the life and legacy of Dr. King. As members of his immediate family continue to champion, we must take action to apply positive pressure on our elected leaders at the federal level and every level of government to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, which passed the House of Representatives in 2020 and will restore the federal approval needed by states to enact new voting laws. Our collective ability to influence the passage of this bill provides one clear and resounding opportunity to model our respect and appreciation for many of the tenets that Dr. King lived, marched, and died to advance. In the past, the association has partnered with the Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board to welcome nearly 1,000 people to the Powderhorn Recreation Center for this celebration. Although we are convening in person today, this year we've needed to keep our attendees to just under 200 folks, considering the ongoing effects of the pandemic. As a result, over the next 20 or so minutes, we have curated a small sample of today's event to connect with as many people in and around our community on this day of remembrance, celebration, and call to action for voting rights. Please enjoy this year's online MLK celebration hosted by PP&A and consider what steps you will take to help further equity and justice for all. Now, please enjoy the musical sounds of local rising talent, the Trail Melodies.
I love you, you love me, yes you do. Look at me, love you, babe, I love you, you love me, yes you do. Look at me, love you, babe, love you, babe, love you, babe. Love you, babe. I love you, babe. We was screaming, we was fighting now I'm sleeping on the couch and then I'm blowing up your phone, cause I've been hearing out your mouth the love is gone. Where it go? What you and your feelings for? We was vibing for a minute, now you healed and hit the door. Why you screaming? I no clue. Find a cute meme, make me think about you. Turn that frown into a smile. Is it speaking to you, boo? Stop that crying, wipe them tears. I like that smile, ear to ear. We been going through the motions, so I know one thing is clear, girl. I love you, I love you. You love me, yes you do. Look at me, look at me. Love you, babe, love you, babe. I love you, I love you. You love me, yes you do. Look at me, look at me. Love you, babe, love you, babe. Love you, babe. Love you, babe. I love you, babe. That was crazy how we did it, how we changed our lives. Struggle tends to keep a person broken, hypnotized, a little strumming and some singing, have them memorized. But if we keep it focused, we gon' be alright. If you love me, we can fix it. This ain't bop it, so don't twist it. Every day it's something different, but you're not here, so you miss it. We've been focused on the problems, ain't not the way to solve them. If I say that I love you, would you say you love me too? Well, will you? I love you, I love you. You love me, yes you do. Nice to me, look at me. Love you, babe, love you, babe. I love you, I love you. You love me, yes you do. Look at me, look at me. Love you, babe, love you, babe. Love you, babe. Love you, babe. I love you, babe. I love you, babe. Love you, babe. Yeah, I love you, babe. I love you, babe. Love you, babe.
Thank you, Detrell, for being with us today and lending your gifts and talents to our 24th annual MLK celebration. Now, I have the pleasure of welcoming one of our newly elected city council members to our celebration. Councilmember Jason Chavez is in his third week of serving his constituents in Ward 9, which includes the Powderhorn Park neighborhood. We are delighted for him to share a few words.
Thank you, Tabitha, for that kind introduction and for extending the invitation for me to join PPNA's 24th annual MLK celebration. As a newly elected city council member for the city of Minneapolis, my election is an example of the power and impact of having equitable voting rights and practices in place for all. I am a proud Latinx community member who has embraced my call and service as an activist, organizer, a political aide, and now elected leader. I believe that my ability to lead through service is only possible because of the many Black, Indigenous, and people of color leaders that have come before me. This includes Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. In recognition and celebration of the role that Dr. King's life and legacy continues to have on advancing ideas and actions that center equitable and just principles, I believe that together we can work to improve the quality of life of every person who lives and works throughout our community. I realize that this is easier said than done, but I am committed to being an accessible, a vocal, and kind leader. I believe that these traits were deeply modeled by Dr. King, and it's my sincere desire to further cultivate these characteristics throughout my tenure as a city council member and in every public service role I assume. I understand that I can not only play a role in being a champion for advancing the John Lewis Voting Rights Act at the federal level, but I will continue to champion policies and ordinances at our city level that can further housing justice, holistic livability and safety, equitable development, immigrant rights, and more. So today, as I join PPNA and folks around the world in celebrating all that Dr. King represents, I also pledge to serve for and with the people of Ward 9 to the best of my ability. Thank you.
This song is about hope, and it's called Avrin Alas a volar. Soña un mundo más justo que el que hiciste para vos. ¿Será que mientras soñamos las manos abren alas a volar? Busca un mundo más justo que el que hiciste para vos. ¿Será que mientras soñamos las manos abren alas a volar? Abren alas a volar. Todo el mundo me dice que hay un Dios, un más allá. Te juro, solo quiero que el cielo baje al mundo en soledad. Todo el mundo me dice que hay un Dios, un más allá. Te juro, solo quiero que el cielo baje al mundo en soledad. Busca un mundo más libre, mi hermana, como el que querías vos. Sembra, hace falta llenarse de barro, ver la tierra florecer, ver la tierra florecer. Todo el aire que aspiro ya pasó por tu nariz. Te juro, siempre cuento contigo cuando quiero ser feliz. Todo el aire que aspiro ya pasó por tu nariz. Te juro, solo quiero que el cielo baje al mundo en soledad. Mientras soñamos las manos abren alas a volar. ¿Será que mientras soñamos las manos abren alas a volar? Todo el mundo me dice que hay un Dios, un más allá. Te juro, solo quiero que el cielo baje al mundo en soledad. Todo el aire que aspiro ya pasó por tu nariz. Te juro, siempre cuento contigo cuando quiero ser feliz. La era, la ra 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 ra. Abren alas a volar, abren alas a volar, abren alas a volar.
Wow. Thank you, Carlos, for being with us and lending your wonderful vocal talents to this event. Let me also thank Councilmember Jason Chavez for sharing a few words in support of our event today. Councilmember, thank you for continuing to express your commitment to serving our community with the community. Next, I'd like to welcome one of our wonderful community partners to share a few words.
Let me start by thanking PPNA's entire staff, my fellow board members, the wonderful folks who make up the Powderhorn community, and indeed everyone in various places around the country who are helping to celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. King. As the board chair for the organization, I currently have the unique opportunity to serve a dynamic, eclectic, and richly diverse community. It is alive with artists. It consistently fosters voices who demand change, and more importantly, we're a community who also works together to bring about that change. Locally, that includes advocating for strong housing justice policies like rent stabilization and a tenant opportunity to purchase agreement. That includes community-led groups like the Powderhorn Safety Collective, who are committed to supporting holistic ways to support livability and safety in our community. I can say with certainty, PPNA's entire board of directors understands the value and impact of having so many folks willing to envision and stand up for an equitable and just community that works for all of us. In addition to supporting equity in local policies and systems, the association also realized we have a role to play in helping advocate for policies of national importance, like the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. As Tabitha mentioned, we stand in solidarity with members of Dr. King's family in calling on our elected leaders to ensure this vital piece of legislation is not only taken up in the Senate, but inevitably that our elected leaders vote yes. My service as PPNA's board chair is one way I can raise my voice in service of and in the spirit of Dr. King's vision for equity and justice for those in our community who have faced discrimination, hostility, and a lack of access to resources. Today, we celebrate Dr. King's life and legacy, and in the days and months ahead, we'll work together to achieve many of the tenets of Dr. King's dream for each of us.
This was my hometown, but where my friends now? They all left town. Oh, this is my hometown, but everything's changed now. They all left town. This was my hometown. Where they go? Where they go? This was my hometown. Everything's changed, nothing the same. This was my hometown. Remember the treehouse had to get cut down. Make way for the townhouse. They even tore down the playground. Took a walk to the hangar spot. Now it's just a parking lot. Abandoned old arcade that everyone else forgot. Everything changes. Time going so fast. I barely noticed. This is my hometown, but where my friends now? They all left town. Oh, this is my hometown, but where my friends now? They all left town. This was my hometown. Where they go? Where they go? This was my hometown. Everything's changed, nothing the same. This was my hometown. Where did everyone go? It seems like everyone's moving the way the time flows. Where the hell did time go? New faces, new places that one night a year ago. Now I'm amazed, devastated from tidal waves. Broken wood, glass waves where I stay. Whole cities divided by crime rates. Can you tell me what happened to my homestay? Everything changes, time going so fast. I barely noticed. This is my hometown, but where my friends now? They all left town. Oh, this is my hometown, but where my friends now? They all left town. This was my hometown. Where they go? Where they go? This is my hometown. Everything's changed. Nothing's the same. This was my hometown.
And that brings us to the end of our event. A special thank you to everyone who made our 24th annual MLK celebration possible. As I shared at the start of today's event, we understand that to remember Dr. King and the many civil rights leaders who walked alongside him is to understand and support the ongoing work of organizers, activists, artivists, and community leaders who are calling for change that centers equity. This includes those standing up for housing justice, those brave enough to help ignite our reimagining of pathways and resource allocations that can more deeply aid livability and safety, the environmental justice warriors and story keepers, folks who care about improvements in our education system, the many voices who advocate for persons with disabilities to experience radical forms of inclusion, those who continue to keep watch and service at George Floyd Square, and everyone across our world who is actively engaged around an issue, community, or policy that aims to enable a new and unmovable age of justice. Today, with all of you, PPNA has taken a moment to celebrate Dr. King's impact in the world, and tomorrow and the many days that follow, we stand ready to support everyone willing to advance the John Lewis Voting Rights Act and other policies, systems, and reforms that furthers dignity, equity, and justice for all. Be well in your service as you strive to be light in the world. Thank you.